So now, like we mentioned Shark Tank, right? We saw last year episodes and all. So, and also we have, some of us have seen that US Shark Tank set as well. So we have seen that they're talking about something like Series A funding, Series B funding, Series C funding. So what are those in terms of startup, like how to go and pitch for your product so that you get the funding, initial fundings, instead of doing bootstrap, your own money you're putting in that organization?
Yeah. So see, if I talk about seed funding and these details, you will find everything in the internet. Just open Google, you'll find the entire definitions. I don't want to get into that.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. That way you'll be able to understand it very easily, because it's all about, if we talk about business development, it's all about making the other person understand the thing.
Right.
If I talk about funding aspects, like if, for example, you have planned to make a business that you mentioned before itself.
Yeah.
So if I'm talking about the aspect where you plan to set up your own business, so you will not do it your own self, right? If you're running a company, if you're doing a tech-based company or an FMCG-based company or a logistics-based company, take any domain, be it healthcare, be it anything. See, you need people around you to guide you, to mentor you, to help you with the funding, initial funding. Okay, we start with seed funding. Seed funding is the initial amount that you're taking loan from an angel investor. So an angel investor is a person who actually is into venture capitalism. So we call them venture capitalists as well. So they will be majorly businessmen, people who have like an industry or an FMCG industry growing, and then they have a huge amount of revenue flow as well. They will invest in the business.
Okay.
So this is the seed funding. Okay. After you have taken the seed funding, you have built your product, you have launched that product. Okay. And after a span of 2 or 3 years, it has grown to that level that it's a 30 million company or 40 million company. Because going to even 30 to 40 million is also a big journey to take as a company. Yeah. So after you get to that part, when it is going into that level where you are upscaling your whole operations, your business, your product lines, your strategies, your organization, there I believe that at the end of the day, all the things that matter really is all about how you do the things correctly. You have to get into the aspects very well. See, it's not like a cakewalk sometimes. So yeah, when it is coming to the funding part and the funding aspect of the whole thing, after you have become an expert company where you have a valuation around like 30 to 50 to even 100 million, you'll be looking for more investors. Because right now it's a time to hit other markets. Like if you are launching a product in Bangalore or in Chennai, you'll try to expand your operations in Mumbai.
So nowadays, what I feel is social media is everywhere. So, and it's directing how people should make their career choices in a way or the other, because social media influence is everywhere. Be it for sending out one propaganda or something like that. Similarly, to make career choices, there is an army sitting there to push you towards that application, push you towards that domain, push you towards that market. So how much do you think that social media is shaping up the career choices right now for youngsters as well as people of our age and generation?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Thanks for asking me this. I wanted to discuss about this also. See, I had worked into the professional segment of courses, learning. So I had the opportunity to talk to around, like, I used to speak to around 70 people from all over the Indian IT space, if you say, from companies like TCS, Infosys. That's a huge crowd who want to take a transition. So I believe that when it is coming to software development or be it anything, okay, see, here people in India, they don't understand that you should be following something which you are good at. See, if any guy is doing data science, there's no point of you to go for data science. I've seen people from commerce backgrounds, they've never touched, like thing like which is updated than Windows 7. talk about doing data science.
Okay, I get your point.
Because it is about, like, because they have read some article that it is costing, like the salary people are drawing is around 40 LPA, 50 LPA, they get greedy.
Uh-huh.
So it is important to understand what you are, first of all. To like rest of, you see, if I'm talking about understanding your own self, it means where you're, like good at, where you can do something better. You will have things falling in line for you. You see, if you're doing, like software development, like for example, if you're getting into automation testing, because people around you are doing this, and this is not something you enjoy, you'll never get growth. You'll be like in a company for like 6-7 years, be still an associate. You'll never be a VP or something like this. If you are passionate about something, I believe they should do these things first of all. If I'm talking about the IT ecosystem. And when it is coming to career choices, your question is about career choices also,
right.
like
Career choice.
so
in general.
yeah. So is it like you are talking about trends, or like you wanted to know more about like how things work out for people, like how they're doing it?
Both in that regard.
So it is, when it is coming to the career path, mostly it's been people, you see, if you have talk about any engineering college, go to any BTech college, you're finding that if people are into mechanical engineering, some people are going it for the machismo, some people are going for the love for like engineering, love for machines, love for building something which like helps in public utility. If you go into electrical, also be finding some hardcore electrical dudes out there who are like building circuits and things like that. They're going into those domains also. So at the end of the day, like when it is coming to mostly IT, mostly other parts also, this is, I'm telling it by my experience, I'm not quoting any people. This is the problem I faced. There is no single guidance into the IT industry where you are explaining like concepts of like object oriented programming, or even if I'm talking about the basics of programming, for example. This is very bad. The level of teaching is very bad. It is not even up to the mark where, you see, you can even convince a very bad student to get interested into this thing and learn this thing very easily. Correct. See, if there's gap in learning, people who are good in this, they will pass on it, like just you did. But there are people like me also who are very like weak in these things. But on the same time, if I talk about like the way it goes around, see, at the end of the day, we have to cut the trends around us. You have to understand what is good for you, career-wise, the path you'll be taking. See, at the end of the day, I am from tech. I can easily push up my skills and start applying. But you see, I'll never get growth if I start right now. So I have to like look into something which is also valuing my previous experience as well. So at the end of the day, like if I'm talking about the career paths, if I talk about engineering, I would say mostly in tech, IT, business development, take any domain, it's all about passion. If you're not passionate about your job, you'll hate it. You will quit it like within a few months itself. Okay. Right. So it's very important to like be very passionate about what you're doing. See, like I'm trying to make this very simple to understand for our viewers, so they don't get confused with the like abbreviations or the kind of technicalities. Because at the end of the day, if you have to understand things, you have to get out of the complex approach of thinking.
Correct. It should be simplified for them. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have this attitude in yours where you know how to solve a problem. It's not about like creating just a part of a solution of problem. It's about creating a solution to the entire thing. So that's right. So career-wise, I would say apart from trends, another thing which I'm seeing is that like a lot of companies are also forcing their employees to win that domain itself. They are not also, sometimes that I have got to know after interacting with a lot of people from the IT industry, and they were my clients, that a lot of companies, they don't even encourage someone to learn upskill because they want that particular workforce in their company. But they fail to realize that if this guy is given the training from the company's end, see, a lot of companies are also upskilling people for free. They're not charging anything. This is not getting cut from the salary, right? You're doing a lot of trainings, like for example, Java programming that was very basic. It was happening ages back. Right now, people are learning basics of Python in companies. Learning about, for example, full stack development in detail. You'll be learning about, for example, if I go into that venture where, what should I say, this cloud computing, which is also very much trending in the market. Then you have big data as well. Companies which are into big data, mostly business analytics firms, they're into that segment. So at the end of the day, you also have to be a person, if you are thinking of a career, very fast when it is coming to grasping things. Because at this point of time, learning like avenues of learning are widened. You can learn from anywhere. You don't have to go to a particular person to learn programming. Because
but don't you think too many options spoils one's choices?
Yeah, definitely it spoils one's choices. I could say it's just the same like gun regulation laws, in which in the US you see like there are some amount Americans who support the gun control policy, and there are some people who oppose it. Right? They have their thing, but at the end of the day, it's all about the user, the person who's doing this. You see, it's not about the system or about the product or the thing you're using. It's not about the guns. It's about the person who's shooting it, right? You can shoot it to target practice. You can also shoot BB guns as well. People will not die. You will have fun. And it's also a huge amount of, what should I say, adventure sports.
Adrenaline rush. Yeah.
The adrenaline rush. You can do a lot of things that you were doing before virtually, right? So it's all about how you take perspective of things, and it's all about like knowing yourself 200%. It's not about just following what every other person is doing. So that's what I believe, that people should be doing this rather, because that would ensure quality work. When you're joining a company, if you're good in something, see, even if you are getting this amount of files from your boss, okay, and you just get the deadline that, yeah, I have to finish this work by Thursday, and you have only few hours to complete it, because you also have to make presentations as well. You have to go into the part, blah 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 blah, take all those things, okay. So it's also about learning a lot of skills. Like for example, what I believe is that a lot of people nowadays, that though they are in constant touch with social media, a lot of people are having very much problem when it is coming to communication. I'm not talking about just speaking in English in a British accent. Communication. The way we are talking right now, this is communication. We are listening to each other. We are understanding. You have to be a very good listener. This is one skill you have to understand. Then you have to be very presentable. You have to, like, it's not about like wearing a Armani jacket or like posing with a Zippo lighter or things like that. It's all about, maybe you are wearing a rag, okay, but the way you're talking, it is attracting people to you, and they're giving business to you, or they're hiring you at the end of the day. The attitude matters a lot. Third is the constant urge to update ourselves technologically. You cannot stay 10 years back. You have to update yourself with everything. So this is something which I believe, if you are not having this, even if you're having 10 pointers, 9.5 pointers, even if you're getting your dream job, your life will be stagnant. You will not be getting growth. So it is very important to focus on these things, because you see, at the end of the day, it's not about just getting in the big company. It's also about, like understanding which role suits you. This you have to think. If you are talking about the present generation, and if I talk about all the trending applications like LinkedIn, people are using it. I don't understand 99% of people in LinkedIn, because it's not about showing off what you're doing. It's about building connections. It's about knowing the right person who can give you the correct, like a career
direction
path or growth. Yeah. So it's easy, like you can apply to a careers page, okay, of any company with thousands of people there. Okay. And you have like 1 out of 1,000 probability of even getting a phone call. That, yeah, we saw your resume. We wanted to have an initial discussion with you. Let's discuss about the salary and other blah blah parts. But when it is coming to things like this, you see, like you have to be very smart when you have to like approach companies that way. So when it is coming to LinkedIn, if you know any executive, any person who is in this industry itself, you get to know the organic insights, like what are the challenges there, right? How things are working. So we should be, see, if I talk about the career path also, you see, everything is available in front of us, everything, be it anything, all the resources are there. The correct approach is missing from a lot of people, which I believe. So this is one thing which I believe, if there is anything which can help people, like to take the right career path, they should, experience a lot of things other than just studies. You should
Okay.
see the world first, understand how people are. It's all about connections.
Right, right. So now talking about trends and how it directs one's career. So during our college days, let's say 7 or 8 years back, we stand-up comedy was in trend. Like we used to see a lot of videos, and people were leaving their jobs and going for stand-up comedy. Then came option of being a YouTuber, where people were putting out content, sketches, and so many things. So many sketch groups also came into picture, right? Like AIBs and TVFs and all. Right. So
Mm.
after that, how TikTok came and disturbed the whole market, because TikTok is a short video format platform where people are impatient and they keep on scrolling and scrolling and watching video after video, which is cringe. So good that government of India banned it, but now Instagram Reels is there. I'm also part of it, unfortunately. So things are going, like people are becoming more and more impatient with the introduction of new formats of videos and consumption of entertainment. So do you think the social media space is shrinking because of that, and the knowledge which should have been there is also going away and unnecessary information is available all around us?
Yeah, see, if I talk about that, you missed Reddit.
Yeah, Reddit also, yes.
Reddit
Quora,
is
Quora
like
and
no, Quora is still like it is controlled.
uh,
Reddit is like the dark web of
uh,
internet, new dark
correct.
web. So this like see, if I talk, that's a very good question. And see, I had been into social media from a very long time. I had been into Facebook. Mostly I was using Facebook. Then I got into WordPress, sorry. WordPress, I was writing blogs as well. I was publishing articles there also. Then I went into like things like, I did use Snapchat. I did use
Hmm.
applications like Telegram or
Hmm.
WhatsApp. WhatsApp is very cool. I've used Telegram also. I have used like all this Dub Smash. I hope you remember
Hmm.
we had this Dub
Musically
Smash.
before TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very old stuff. Like it's not
Yeah.
there right now. So like I've never done a TikTok video. I could never understand like how people do it. But see, like every generation has their interests, their products,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
So we had the Dub Smash, we had all the Instagram. That was a huge thing for us.
Huh.
Right now, the generation which saw, TikTok, this is the same generation which is also into e-learning,
Huh.
same user base. So they are also the same people who are also playing a lot of video games as well,
Correct.
the gaming community.
Gaming,
So you have
yes.
to see here. So when I talk about, the topic where we talk about this, you mentioned that, due to the increase of this social media applications, there is unnecessary flow of information.
Hmm.
Definitely, yes, definitely there is no regulation of these things, but on the same time, I will still give the gun example, the gun rights example.
Hmm.
You're using it the right way, things will be fine for you, right?
Hmm.
So it's not about social media, it's the people who are the problem.
Hmm. Okay.
It's same for education also in India. Same for banking as well. See, we always see the corporate news that some company has given very bad service. Like for example, if I talk about Flipkart or Amazon,
Hmm.
there is a huge issue of delivery sometimes,
Hmm.
and the deadline is not met. And I used to, believe what people used to tell me. Yeah, this was a problem with Amazon. They did not give me things and blah blah blah. I read some reviews on Google Meet. Sorry, Google basically. Sorry, what I'm saying. For maybe reviews are there. So I happened to see the same thing happening with one of my friends. Okay,
Hmm.
way he behaved with that executive, I realized that you see, boss एक हाथ से ताली नहीं बजता. It is like the populace is also as guilty as the companies.
Right.
You have to change. Yeah, you have to change some certain attitudes. Like for example,
Correct.
if I talk about e-learning, the perils, I'll not say the perils, I would say that like here also, this is also internet. Everything is a product, right? So if I talk about these things also, like it's also something which is addicting children to a lot of screen time, which is not necessary. They're playing games, doing, they're overdoing things. So what I believe is that like, uh, uh, of course, it is impossible from one side to cut off oneself from social media. It's not a huge thing to do. Just needs the right thinking, and like one day we'll decide, yeah, I'm done with Facebook. It's boring as hell. I'm not going to spend time on this. Let me delete my Instagram.
Account. Yeah.
Just use Telegram or WhatsApp for official purposes. Use it. So it is possible. See, at the end of the day, like I also believe that when it is coming to TikTok also, content wise, if I talk about trends like of various sources of income, see boss, this trends will be there in every other decade. It's not just this. Coming decades also, you'll see that people are complaining about something. The TikTok generations which are right now, who the millennials are, they'll be pissed off with the new incoming generation when they'll be seeing that they are getting more facilities than them. This is a
right.
cycle.
This is a cycle, vicious cycle. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle. So I do believe that if you have more apps, use the good part of it. If you want to win Reddit or if you want to go into dark web, then one can save you from going to jail. So you have to understand which things like will give you the like optimum like feasible solutions that can help you. So if I even talk about YouTube, like for example, you mentioned YouTube, and this is a YouTube channel. So what I believe is that like this is something which has given a lot of people an avenue to showcase their talents as well. Like
Totally.
Let's talk about this channel called the best food review ever. Have you seen the kind of food, like the cuisines, the kind of cultural backdrop that the guy is giving, like the YouTuber is giving to his viewers? Like this is something, a new kind of experience. Let's not just get into food blogging. There are a lot of bloggers who are also playing airsoft, like they're having all this Millsoft or like military simulation games where you can play just like paintball, right? It is also coming on the internet. You can see live streaming. There'll be groups also. You can tag up with people. Things like that. This is the entertainment part. If you see the part where you are also knowing a lot of politics, and see, if I get into that, like I will only say one thing, that a lot of companies like Facebook and Twitter, they are not complacent with the data policies these days. It's not just the social media, it's not the TikTok. I would say that there's a lot of unethical practices going on because a lot of information is getting withheld, a lot of false information is getting spread, and you see, you'll be finding, the rise of far right extremist groups. If I talk about people who are getting into religious fundamentalism, people are getting into all kinds of, like organized crime. See, this is also a part of social media.
Right, totally.
Right. So, see, like at the end of the day, there is the good side, there is the bad side, but I would say that apart from just controlling yourself, it's also about understanding which apps or which, like social media you can actually take for the whole day. Because it takes a lot of effort, boss. I really used to love commenting on people's posts. I used to post a lot of music links and things like that. Right now, I don't even have the energy to even text back to people. I'm just emailing people and talking, like in proper corporate English. And at the end of the day, I'm thinking what I'm doing. Like, but again, like it's fun. Let's do it. So this is happening every day. So see, at the end of the day, like it's all about the lifestyle you are leading also. So it's not entirely connected. We cannot just blame social media or blame, because boss, at the end of the day, these are all products at the end of the day. Social media is a product. If you see things as a product manager or a product owner or a product analyst, or even as a marketer, you understand things in the language of a product. So you see, at the end of the day, what I believe is that uh, definitely there is a huge amount of suffocation into the kind of toxicity that people are consuming, the kind of like materialistic culture, like for example, let's talk about the Olympics or the recent
World
FIFA
Cup.
World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday Argentina won that match.
Yeah.
You would have seen, like, I was going through the whole match. I was just looking in the audience. Whenever France is playing good, people are changing from, like the Argentina jersey to the French jersey.
Yes, yes.
The colors are. You know why this is happening? Because, see, 90%, I will not say 90%, there is around 50 to 60% of people who have never even kicked a football in their entire lives. They can't even tell you the name of a goalkeeper of Argentina. Okay. They have spent around lakhs of rupees just to go to Qatar and post reels there.
Correct. Yes, I've
Understand,
seen that.
right? It's not about trends. It's about understanding what is good for you. See, like if I'm personally speaking, I'm not entirely into sports and athletics. So I never have that much interest to go there. But if I'm spending that much money, I'll probably go to a gig or I'll go to watch a rock band that I like.
Right.
Be it in the
Yes.
US or any other country. So it's all about doing the things that matter to you. See, if you are just seeing 10 people around you, they are saying, like Forza Barcelona or, like Viva, what they say for Real Madrid, Hala Madrid, right?
Yes.
Yeah, just you're going into that trending, like hashtag culture, and you're going into this, you will waste a lot of your money also. And you realize this when you're seeing your bank balance is zero.
Right. Yeah. So before we wrap up the entire discussion, so one last point that I want to ask, like you have been into masters and you have done your business schooling, right? So what as a already you are into market now, doing job and all. So what would you like to suggest someone who is just passed out from college and planning, is still confused what to do, whether to go in a tech domain or in a business domain? So why should they go and take up business school, or what values one should look within themselves, or interest they should look within themselves, that they should go for business or they should go for tech domain? Like what question they should ask themselves before going for this, either of this?
See, it's not about questions, it's about understanding the fact that how skilled you are. It's about your skills. It's entirely about your skills. It's not about like convincing yourself that, yeah, I'll be a tech engineer, I'll be a sales executive, I'll be a CEO of a company. It's not like that. See, first of all, you have to understand, you have to see in the mirror, you have to understand which are your positive points, which you can work on, which are your negative points, where you're weak, where you're very strong. See, if you're an analytical person, I would suggest you should go into tech. Definitely go into tech or sales operations, sales analytics, business analytics. There's also product management also, if you know how to handle business. See, if I talk about the tech part, if you're good in coding, you should stick to this only. Don't think about other things. See, at the end of the day, like if I'm talking about coding, I'm not talking about programmers. I also know a lot of people who are programmers. They are working in companies for like past 6-7 years. Okay. But when it came to tests of various, like courses, online courses, they're failing on that. Why? Because the concepts are not strong. They just did what the teammates had done that time. They had been, like able to pass some tests, but at the same time, when it is coming to the longer run, see where they are and where are the people who, like had a passion to do coding themselves. It's not about just learning coding just by going to an online class or, like just looking into some videos, because anyone can do that. Udemy has courses at like 500 rupees.
Yes.
So it's free in YouTube also, if you know the right channels.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, it's all about like introspecting, understanding which is good for you. Understand that, then make a decision. I will not suggest you to be either to go for IT, either to go for like
business.
business. Understand yourself first. And if anyone is planning into business, they have to understand that after you graduate, there will be cutthroat competition when it is coming to getting jobs. Then after you get into a job, it's also about performance. You have to perform to that level. You have to, upskill yourself also. It's not just about speaking in English. It's also about how you convince people, how you, prospect, do the prospecting part where you understand, yeah, this is the kind of market where I can derive some revenue or some paisa out of it. This is the market which should leave, should have the sensibilities as well. So if you're a guy who has, traditionally ran a business before, you've run a shop, or even like, for example, if you've done something in your college life, if you feel that, yeah, you have the gift of the gap, you can talk a lot, you can, handle the objections properly, you can be great consultant when it is coming to the listening skills. You should be in market, you should be in sales. So that's what I believe. This is my suggestion. So that's all. I'll not like to say a lot of things into this because you see, like when it is coming to these things, you'll be finding a lot of videos which are there by sales trainer.
We should not get preachy. Like it should just experience sharing. We should people start thinking it.
So I had watched a lot of his videos to understand how to sell, how to build rapport.
Who's the YouTuber?
His name is Dan Lok. DAN. D for Denmark, A for America, N for Netherlands, L for Luxembourg, O for Osaka, K for Koali or kangaroo.
Okay. Great.
So he is a sales trainer. So he was an entrepreneur before. He had run companies. Right now, he started his whole YouTube channel where he talked about how to convince people, how to sit in business meetings, how to communicate, how to even answer the crucial objections. And he did it very easily. So after that, people started learning from him as well. You see, the guy on whom, I like to bring light into this as well. I think you have seen this movie called The Wolf of the Wall Street, right?
Yeah. Sell me this pen. Yeah.
Mr. Belfort. Mr. Belfort is also on YouTube, by the way, for information.
Oh, right. I'm aware of it.
Yeah. So this guy is also, doing getting revenue out of a YouTube channel. So hereby you have an answer to that previous question you asked me, like, is it good or is it bad? You see, this guy is using it for his benefit. His whole, if you have seen the movie, if you have read his books also, you'd know that he had some issues with his business where things did not go right and they had to shut it down. There was some, economic scam or something like this. After that, with all that bad repertoire, with that bad reputation, which was his baggage, he came to YouTube. He picked up the people who were very bad at sales. And he gave them free classes, free lectures. And he became a sensation. People like Dan Lok, this kind of people saw him and they also started their whole thing. It costs a lot of dollars, if you even take a subscription of one of those courses. The same thing Udemy has for like 500 rupees, but it is just videos.
Yes. Totally. Yeah, I think we'll wrap up our entire discussion now. So thanks, Arnab, for joining and sharing your thoughts and ideas. I hope you enjoyed the discussion.
Definitely. It was a great experience for me to be interviewed finally, because this is something I do for a living.
Right. When interviewer becomes interviewee. Right. Okay. Thank you, man. Bye. See you.